My Trailblazer story, take 1. Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Dunn and this is my Trailblazer story. Back in 2011, I'm aging myself. Back in 2011, I was working for a software company who had started their Salesforce journey and they needed a Salesforce admin. Now, I'm the person who broke my laptop on the weekly. Our IT team used to have a standby laptop just for me. But the management team in the department I was working for said I was a great candidate for this job and I should apply. So I did. Zero Salesforce knowledge, breaking my laptop, and I still managed to get that job. Still to this day, I'm still shocked, but I was given a chance to learn a new technology, so I did. So I was sent on the 201 admin training for a whole week, and back in 2011 there wasn't a lot of options. It wasn't very online, so I ended up doing it in San Francisco time zone while living in Ireland. So it was a lot of late nights, but I completed the course. Fast forward 6 months and we went live with this project, and you know, we gave the training and everything else, and we went live. The very first day, it was a Monday morning, I am greeted at the employee entrance of this big massive office that we worked in at the time, and the director of our department was there, and she greeted me at the door and she said, okay, this is wrong, this isn't working right, we needed to do this isn't right, how can we fix it? And I just smiled and nodded and I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, not a worry, yeah, no problem. I set my laptop down on my desk, I ran to the bathroom and cried for about 30 minutes. To this day, I cried. And all we needed was list views, and day one I was flustered, and there was no trailhead or anything like that. It was just the 201 training and the handbook I received. And so I started, you know, reaching out to other people who were in the tech industry, friends and so on, and it turns out I had a friend who, it turns out I had an acquaintance who works as a Salesforce developer. So I reached out to him and I had asked, hey, you know, I'm new to this whole Salesforce thing, can you give me some guidance? And I'm about 3-4 months into the job at this point, and he says, so what are you doing? So I explained all the different jobs and stuff like that I was doing, and he said to me, are you sure you're doing a Salesforce admin job? Because what you're doing isn't really an admin job. And I didn't know any better, and I was like, well, yeah, that's what my role is, and I've got the admin privileges in Salesforce, so yeah. And this went on for 2, 3, 4 months maybe, and every time I'd ask him a question about something, and are you sure you're an admin? Because it doesn't sound like it. And imposter syndrome set in. I didn't know any better. This was someone who was in the Salesforce world, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm not an admin. So I decided to expand my horizons a little bit more, and I found the Ireland admin user group, and I remember registering and getting butterflies. And this is back in 2012, 2013. And I remember registering and getting butterflies, and I was so excited. I took a half day from work because it was an hour's drive away, and it was in Dublin City, and I lived in the suburbs, and I wore a suit. I only had one suit in my closet, and I wore that. I was a little overdressed, just a little overdressed. And I went to my first user group, and because in the back of my head I had the "are you sure you're an admin?" I wasn't even sure if I should be there, if I was entitled to be there. And you know, I took all the notes, we had a presentation, and this is how far back ago, or how long ago it was, they presented Wave, which is now Einstein Analytics. But I took down notes, I sat alone, and then towards the end they said, "Oh, now it's the networking portion of the meetup." I was terrified I wasn't supposed to be there, so I left. But I came back. The next meetup I was there, and I very gingerly was like talking to people, and I was like, "Oh, so what do you do?" And I started getting more confidence in talking to people, and if anyone knows me, anyone watching this knows me, knows I have no issue talking to people, but I was so shy. So that continued on for a good year, going to user groups and meeting people, and then I eventually got the confidence. Fast forward to 2015, and the company I was working for were rolling out a new UI, the pre-Lightning to the Lightning. And I remember hearing that all these Salesforce experts from the US office were going to be in Dublin, and they're going to be there for 2 weeks rolling out this project. And now our department I was working for, weren't involved in it at all, but I was so excited. Oh, someone else who knows Salesforce, my people, that I asked my boss at the time, could I go and sit with them in the room, because by that stage they were in a different building. I asked my boss, could I go sit with them and, you know, just absorb their knowledge. And I went and I sat with that team for 2 weeks, 2 whole weeks, non-stop, in a small meeting room, absorbing all the knowledge, everything. And I remember being so inspired, because I was a solo admin in Ireland, and then next of all there was this whole team. So I asked the lady, Karen, who was over from Texas, how can I get on your team? I want to be part of your team. How can I do this? And she said she'd recommend me to her boss. And she did. And I got talking to her boss, and I remember just being mesmerized by Jen, who was the boss. And she said, "Okay, we need to sort this. We need to get you on our team, but we need to build your Salesforce knowledge. So go get your 201 cert and we'll work on getting you on our team." I had failed my 201 twice by that time. So for 2 whole weeks after, I studied and studied and studied and studied, and I booked my exam, and I told no one I was going. And I passed. And I got out of the exam room and cried. I cried. And this is all before Trailhead, by the way. There was no Trailhead. And I passed. And on my 25th birthday, yes, I'm showing my age, I accepted the role of a solution architect in my company, on Jennifer's team and with Karen. And I remember my very first day on the team, I was told I was going to Dreamforce 2015, and I heard nothing else after that, because all I could hear was, "Oh my god, I'm going to Dreamforce, I'm going to Dreamforce, I'm going to Dreamforce. What am I going to wear?" So I started packing. This is July. I started packing for Dreamforce. I think Dreamforce was September or October that year. So I started packing months in advance. So that was my first Dreamforce, and I was involved in so many executive meetings, and we were talking about getting Wave, and so I was pulled into all these meetings. I didn't know there was a full community. I was obviously in a sea of 170,000 people, but I didn't know there was a community out there. And fast forward a couple of months, and our team gets reorged, and I get shuffled into a new manager who didn't know what to do with my skill set. didn't know what to do with me, basically. And I was shuffled from project to project to project, and eventually Dreamforce 2016 comes along, and I end up meeting, I was on Twitter at this point, and I was talking to so many people, and I was going alone. I was the only member, obviously I was the only member going, and I was terrified because I knew no one. I was going alone. So this is when I decided to really, you know, boost my confidence and talk to a lot of Salesforce folks on Twitter. So I joined Twitter, and I deleted all my giving out about company tweets, and started on Twitter tweeting other Salesforce folks, and I met a great group of people and made plans to meet up with them at Dreamforce, so I wasn't alone. I also, while on Twitter, saw there was a call for volunteers for the admin theatre, and that's when, and I signed up, and that's when the imposter syndrome came again, and it was like, but you're not an admin, you don't know what you're doing. And everything just aligned, and I got an email from that manager, my previous manager Jennifer, who had so much confidence in me, and she said, hey, Salesforce are rolling out this thing called Trailhead, and you know, they've got a couple of badges on there, and you should go look at it. And I was like, okay. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna be alone, I volunteered for this. So I got 50 Trailhead badges in 4 days. It was a long weekend in Ireland, and I was up till 3-4 o'clock in the morning screaming at my laptop going, just work! But it was like the best memories, because I was getting these badges and I knew the answers to everything, so I grew that confidence. Fast forward to Dreamforce 2016, and I met the people I had connected with on Twitter, introduced me to more people who introduced me to more people, and then I grew my network, and it was amazing. I was so inspired. I grew to confidence, and I was reassured by so many people that what I was doing was a Salesforce admin job, and never to doubt myself again. So between Trailhead and the Salesforce community, I just had so much confidence going back to my job. So Dreamforce 16 happened, and I got so, because I had so much confidence and made these connections, I didn't want to lose them. So that's when I created Ohana Coffee, a virtual, it was once a month at the time, meetup. And I invited a few people who invited a few other people, and who tweeted about it, and then it just blew up. Ohana Coffee just blew up. And now we are once a week, and we have our regulars, we have some newbies, and I hope that Ohana Coffee for newcomers is that sense of welcoming, and you know, helps others network and connect people, and just helps them grow their Salesforce career. So in short, I say short, I don't think it's going to be a short video, that is my Trailblazer story. I went from imposter syndrome to being told I know what I do and proving it, and then getting my dream job in a company that is an amazing company. And my dog is barking. Never work with kids or animals. Anyway, so that's my Trailblazer story, and I hope it inspires someone. And if there is anything I can do to help you on your Salesforce or DocuSign career, please do reach out to me. My details are below. And oh yeah, I have to do the like and subscribe. No, the like and subscribe. Ding! Insert sound effect. Yeah, I will get there. Okay. got your back. Okay. Go away. Okay. Let's do this. Do you mind? Remember the exact title? What was it? Salesforce